What if just 7 days from now, you could wake up and feel like a different man? More disciplined, more focused, more alive. That's what happened to me, and it wasn't by accident. It was the result of 7 specific habits that challenged everything I thought I knew about success, productivity, and self-control. These habits are not theories pulled from a book. They are battle-tested routines I put my own life through. And I didn't do it in comfort. I did it while resisting old patterns, breaking years of ingrained habits, and facing the mental resistance that fights change. The results, they came faster than I expected. My mornings felt sharper, my thoughts became clearer, my body felt stronger, and my mind calmer than it had been in years. You may think 7 days is too short to change your life, but if you commit, if you lean into the discomfort instead of running from it, you will see results. So today, I'm giving you each of these 7 habits, not to overwhelm you, but so you can start with just one and build from there. If they worked for me, they can work for you. Habit 1, waking up early. Most people don't realize this, but the way you start your day determines the way you live your life. For years, I treated mornings as something to survive, not to own. I'd wake up late, already behind, rushing into the day with a mind full of noise and a body that felt heavy. And every day began the same: stressed, distracted, reactive. Then I made one change. I set my alarm for 5 a.m. The first morning was brutal. The air felt colder, the bed felt warmer, and my body begged me to hit snooze. But I forced myself up, not because I wanted to, but because I knew discipline is built in the moments you don't feel like acting. By the third morning, something strange happened. I started to notice the stillness, that rare golden silence before the rest of the world wakes. There were no notifications, no voices, no demands, just space. Space to think, to breathe, to choose how my day would go before the world had a chance to choose for me. Then came the morning that changed everything. I stepped onto my balcony just as the horizon began to glow. The air was crisp, carrying that faint scent of dew and earth. The sky shifted slowly from deep indigo to soft orange, then to a burst of gold as the first rays broke free. In that moment, I felt something I hadn't felt in years: absolute presence. No past, no future, just now. I began my mornings with light movement, stretching, a slow walk, sometimes a few push-ups. Nothing extreme, but enough to wake up my body. Then I'd spend a few minutes in silence, focusing my mind, setting my intentions. And suddenly, I wasn't just awake earlier. I was alive earlier. The biggest shift wasn't the extra hours. It was the control. For the first time, I wasn't chasing the day. I was leading it. If you want to try this, don't start with 5 a.m. Start with 15 minutes earlier than usual. Let your body and mind adapt. But once you've tasted the clarity and calm that early mornings give you, you'll never want to go back. Habit 2, daily exercise. If waking up early gave me control over my mornings, daily exercise gave me control over my body and my mind. For years, I told myself the same excuses most people do. I'm too tired. I don't have time. I'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow never came. And each day I skipped, I felt weaker, not just physically, but mentally. Because every time you break a promise to yourself, you lose trust in your own word. One day, I decided to test something simple. Move my body every single day for 7 days. No matter how tired, busy, or unmotivated I felt, I would give myself at least 20 minutes. The first 2 days were rough. My muscles ached, my lungs burned, my mind screamed for me to quit. But by the 4th day, something shifted. I woke up with more energy. My thoughts were sharper, my mood lifted. The same body that once resisted movement began to crave it. I didn't lock myself into one form of exercise. Some days it was yoga, stretching my body slowly, feeling each muscle release its tension. Other days it was a jog under a pale morning sky, the rhythmic sound of my footsteps syncing with my breathing. And sometimes it was strength training, feeling the strain in my arms, the burn in my legs, knowing each rep was building me into something stronger. One moment stands out. It was early morning, the street still quiet. I was jogging, and a cool breeze brushed past me. The sun was rising, and in that moment, it felt like the world and I were moving together. No distractions, no noise. Just me, my breath, and the road. And for the first time in a long time, I felt free. Daily exercise stopped being about chasing a perfect body. It became a daily meeting with myself. A time to release stress, sharpen my focus, and remind myself that my body is my greatest tool. If you want to start, don't overcomplicate it. You don't need a gym membership. You don't need expensive equipment. You just need movement, a walk, a stretch, a set of push-ups. Start small, but start now. Because the moment you feel your body grow stronger, your mind will follow. Habit 3, journaling. If waking up early gave me control over my mornings, and daily exercise gave me control over my body, journaling gave me control over my mind. For most of my life, my thoughts were like an untamed river, rushing, colliding, pulling me in every direction. I would replay past mistakes, overthink the smallest decisions, and carry emotions I couldn't fully understand. I thought this was normal, until I discovered that the act of writing could turn chaos into clarity. I didn't start with any fancy notebook or perfect prompts. I grabbed a plain journal and a pen, and I made myself one promise. Every night before bed, I will write for 10 minutes. No rules, no pressure, just me and the page. The first night, I stared at the paper. My mind went blank. But then, the words began to flow. I wrote about my day, the small victories, the moments that bothered me, the feelings I couldn't quite shake. I noticed something unexpected. The more I wrote, the lighter I felt. By the end of the week, my entries had changed. I wasn't just describing my day. I was confronting my fears. I was admitting things I'd been avoiding. I was discovering patterns in my thinking, realizing what truly mattered to me and what was only noise. One night, after a particularly difficult day, I wrote about something that had been bothering me at work. I listed exactly what happened, how it made me feel, and what I could do differently next time. By the time I put the pen down, the problem didn't feel so heavy anymore. It was no longer spinning endlessly in my mind. It was contained on the page, where I could see it clearly. I also began a gratitude list, just 3 things each night that I was thankful for. At first, it felt forced, but then I started noticing little moments throughout the day that I wanted to remember. The taste of fresh coffee, a stranger holding the door, the quiet peace of a sunset. I realized gratitude wasn't about ignoring the bad. It was about reminding myself that the good is always there too. Journaling became my private training ground for self-awareness. A place where I could be brutally honest without judgment. A place where I could reflect, recalibrate, and grow. If you want to start, don't wait for the perfect moment or the perfect words. Just write, even if it's messy, even if it's only a few sentences. You're not writing for anyone else. You're writing to see yourself more clearly. And that clarity can change everything. Habit 4. Mindful eating. We live in a world where eating has become automatic. We eat while scrolling on our phones. We eat while watching videos. Sometimes we don't even remember what our food tasted like. That was my life for years. Meals were rushed, distracted, and mindless. I didn't realize how much this was draining my energy until I tried something different. Mindful eating. For 1 week, I made a rule. No phone, no laptop, no TV. Every meal would have my full attention. At first, it felt strange. Sitting alone with my food, in silence, felt almost uncomfortable. But as I took my first bite, something shifted. I began to notice details I'd ignored for years. The warmth of freshly cooked rice, the way vegetables crunch between my teeth, the sweetness that lingers after a bite of fruit. It was like tasting food in high definition for the first time. One morning, I made a simple bowl of oatmeal. Normally, I would eat it without a second thought, but this time, I slowed down. I felt the steam on my face, smelled the faint aroma of honey, and tasted the creaminess as I took the first spoonful. I realized I wasn't just eating, I was experiencing my food. And with that awareness came control. I started noticing when I was truly hungry and when I was just bored, stressed, or looking for comfort. I stopped eating until I felt stuffed. I started eating until I felt satisfied. The result? I had more energy, fewer crashes, and a deeper connection to how food affected my body. One evening, after a long day, I felt the urge to reward myself with something sweet. Normally, I would have grabbed a dessert without thinking, but I paused. I asked myself, am I hungry or am I just tired? The answer was clear. I was seeking comfort, not food. Instead, I made a cup of herbal tea, sat by the window, and let the craving pass. That single decision made me realize how powerful mindful eating can be. Mindful eating isn't about restriction. It's about awareness. It's about giving your body the respect it deserves by paying attention to what you're putting into it. When you eat with presence, you'll not only enjoy your food more, you'll also give your body exactly what it needs. Nothing more, nothing less. If you want to start, pick just one meal a day. No distractions, no rushing. Breathe, take small bites, and notice everything. The taste, the texture, the smell. You'll be amazed at how something so simple can transform the way you feel. Habit 5. Limiting screen time. Screens are everywhere. Phones, TVs, laptops. We wake up to them, we work through them, and we fall asleep with them. I didn't realize how much of my life was disappearing into those glowing rectangles until I tried something that at first felt almost impossible, limiting my screen time. For 1 week, I set a simple rule. Outside of work, I would allow myself no more than 1 hour of non-essential screen use each day. No endless scrolling, no late-night video binges, no just one more episode. The first day felt empty. I reached for my phone out of habit, only to stop myself. I didn't know what to do with the silence, but by the second day, I started noticing something I hadn't felt in years. Space. Space to think. space to notice the world around me, space to be bored, and then let boredom push me toward creativity. One evening, instead of staring at a screen after dinner, I went for a walk in the park. The air was cool, the ground damp from a light rain. I could hear the faint rustle of leaves, the distant hum of the city, and my own footsteps echoing in the quiet. I remember looking up at the night sky, dark, endless, and dotted with stars, and thinking, I haven't really looked at this in years. Limiting my screen time didn't just give me more hours, it gave me back presence. I started reading again. I picked up an old notebook and began sketching ideas. I had longer conversations, the kind where no one's glancing down at their phone every 2 minutes. The biggest change came at night. I stopped taking my phone to bed. No more scrolling until my eyes burn. Instead, I'd read a book, meditate, or simply lie there in the dark, letting my mind slow down. The result? I fell asleep faster, slept deeper, and woke up feeling more rested than I had in years. Screens aren't the enemy. Mindless use is. If you want to try this, start small. Cut 1 hour of unnecessary screen time a day and replace it with something real. A walk, a conversation, a hobby you've been neglecting. You'll be surprised how quickly the fog lifts and how much more alive the world feels when you're actually looking at it. Habit 6. Daily reflection before bed. The way you end your day is just as important as the way you start it. For years, my nights ended in chaos, falling asleep to background noise, scrolling on my phone until my eyes ached, or replaying stressful moments in my head until I finally drifted off. My mind never truly rested. Then I made a change. Every night, before bed, I gave myself 10 quiet minutes for reflection. No screens, no distractions. Just me, the dim lights of a lamp, and my thoughts. I would sit in silence and ask myself 3 questions. What went well today? What could I have done better? What will I focus on tomorrow? Some nights, the answers came easily. A small victory at work, a moment of kindness from a stranger, a task I completed that I'd been avoiding. Other nights, it was harder. I had to face the truth about where I fell short, the times I was impatient, distracted, or reactive. But here's the thing. This wasn't about self-criticism. It was about self-awareness. Reflection gave me perspective. It allowed me to see patterns, not just in my actions, but in my thoughts. I began to notice which habits made my days better and which ones pulled me backward. One night in particular, I remember sitting by the window. The room was quiet except for the faint hum of the city outside. I thought about my day, the conversations I'd had, the work I'd done, the way I'd treated the people around me, and I realized something powerful. Even the smallest choices ripple outward. Daily reflection became a way to end my days with intention instead of accident. It gave me closure for each day and direction for the next. It's like closing one chapter before starting the next one, clean, clear, and with purpose. If you want to try this, keep it simple. Just 5 to 10 minutes before bed. Ask yourself those 3 questions. Be honest. Some nights you'll feel proud. Other nights, you'll feel the sting of regret. Both are important because awareness is the first step toward change. Habit 7. A dedicated hour for deep work or learning. Most people go through their days reacting, answering messages, jumping between tasks, and consuming endless streams of shallow content. I lived like that for years. And while I was busy, I wasn't moving forward. My time was scattered, my focus diluted. Then I made a decision. Every single day, I would dedicate one uninterrupted hour to something that built my future. No phone, no notifications, no multitasking, just deep, focused work, or intentional learning. The first day felt unnatural. My mind kept reaching for distractions. I'd think about checking my phone, getting a snack, or doing something quick before coming back. But I forced myself to stay in it. Minute by minute, my focus began to sharpen. Some days, I used that hour to work on a personal project, writing, planning, or creating something that mattered to me. Other days, I used it to learn, reading books, studying a skill, or taking detailed notes on something I wanted to master. One evening, I sat at my desk with a single book open, the room lit only by the warm glow of a desk lamp. Outside, the world was moving fast. Cars passing, people talking. But inside that small circle of light, time slowed. I absorbed every word, every idea, and I could feel my mind expanding. That hour wasn't just productive. It was transformative. The truth is, an hour doesn't seem like much, but an hour a day is 365 hours a year, the equivalent of more than 9 full-time work weeks. Imagine what you could build, learn, or create with that kind of focused time. If you want to start, make it sacred. Pick the same time each day, block it out, and protect it from everything else. Whether you use it to create, to learn, or to push forward a goal, make sure it's work that matters. Because if you give your future just one focused hour a day, it will give you more than you can imagine in return. Change doesn't happen overnight, but it also doesn't have to take years. In just 7 days, these habits began reshaping my mornings, my energy, my focus, my body, and my mind. Not because they're magical, but because I committed to them. You don't need to start with all 7. Start with 1, master it. Let it become part of you. Then add another and another. Before you know it, you'll look back and realize you're not the same person you were before. The man who controls his mornings controls his life. The man who moves his body daily controls his energy. The man who reflects, learns, and guards his attention controls his future. The question is, which one will you start with today? And in 7 days, who will you be? If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to our channel for more Stoic wisdom. See you in the next video.